Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Julie. In today's video, we are going to assemble 4 Funful cards. I decided that I was going to use this pretty awesome paper collection. This is the Designer Series papers. It is called Full of Life and it is full of colors. So this is the star of the show. And we're going to marry it up with this stamp set and die right here. This is the Round We Go. And you don't really need this stamp set if you don't want it. I've only used this piece here for my cards, but you definitely need these dies if you want to complete these cards. And you know what? There's a pretty awesome sale this month where you get an additional 10% off when you get the dies and the stamps. So you may want to take a look at that. These are very versatile and I really like the way they marry up with this paper collection. I'm also going to use this pretty awesome die set right here. It's called Wanted to Say. Let me just show you here. These are all really cute sentiment dies. Here's the first one here. It is Happy Birthday. It comes with the inside piece and the shadow piece. I really love all of these here. You have 4 sentiment. So I decided to create 4 cards and we're going to use every single one of them here today. The last product I want to share with you here is the 3D embossing folder. It is called Dotted Circles. This is really big. Look at the size of this. And it just adds that really nice touch to a few of the cards and it really goes well with the pinwheels. Now, if you're someone that likes to have written instructions when you're putting these types of workshops together, I have a full assembly guide where I've got all of the cutting diagrams and I even have the templates, the assembly, and of course, colored photos. So if this is something that interests you, I will put that link down in the description box below and you can grab your very own. Another thing that's pretty awesome about this is that most of these products are from the annual catalog, so you have plenty of time to get yours to do this workshop. Let me clear off the desk right here and we are going to start with the assembly of card number 1. We're going to start with card number 1 and I've got all of my pieces here ready to go. I will put together one of these pinwheels so that you can see how easy it is with that die and you'll see how easy and fun these cards come together. This is for a belly band that's going to go around this card. So this one here is a Gatefold card and I'm debating if I should put my pieces on before I fold. And the reason for that is that I find that it's just easier. You'll notice that the margin is really narrow. I didn't want to have too much of black, but this very vibrant color needed something to ground it. So the black is the perfect accent, but I didn't want it to be too much and take over the entire card. Let's put the pinwheel together and you'll see how easy this is. The first thing you want to do is just fold on the pre-scored lines. And I'm doing this in real time. And you'll see that it's easy, it's fun. And when you put this on a card, it's just really awesome. I know a few people are going to have pretty bright and cheerful birthday cards this year. This is piece number 1. And then when you continue here, this is going to be glued on the back side. So you just fold the same way. So if you folded your tab down, you fold this tab down again so that when you glue these together, they'll match up. I love this paper collection for these pinwheels because they are just so much fun. Okay, now we have our 2 pieces here. And this is the piece. Let me bring back the dies. So here we have the dies. This one right here is the one I decided to use for the back. Now you can use a tiny little dot. I'll show you why I decided to use a bigger one. It gives it more stability and it's a little bit easier when you're putting it together. So I'll keep this here for reference. And I'm going to use just regular glue I'm going to add it right here on the tab. And then we are going to line up these two pieces. Now, let me just make sure that I'm nice and straight. The next step here is we're going to complete the circle. So let me add a little bit of glue again. And we are going to glue this. The next step you'll do here is you'll collapse your little pinwheel onto itself. And now we have to glue it. So it's going to pop out of place. I'm going to collapse it onto itself from the back side, which is equally pretty. And I'm going to add this large piece right here. So we're going to add some glue, and I'm being generous here to make sure that this sticks down properly. We're going to, whoops, I'm going to pop this little guy in. And then I'm going to add my circle, which is a nice big circle. And I'm just going to hold it. And you can actually push it back into place if it moves on you. And I'm just going to put my hand on here. You can also put something heavy on it, like a block. While this is drying, you can start assembling your gatefold card. This is a regular gatefold card, and I'm going to add my two pieces right here at the front. Now, these have been fussy cut, and I left it white, didn't add a border on this so that if I wasn't exact, it really doesn't show. So let's add these down, and you know what? I think I'm going to work with it open. So here I'm working on the inside panel, and I've got my inside panel for my sentiment. Now, if you want to bring in this stamp set right here and add a few of these pinwheels on your panel, you can go ahead and do that, but wait till you see it all done, because this is busy pattern paper. It's a lot of fun, but I decided to just leave it white. I'm going to speed up this part right here. I'm adhering down all of the cut pieces. These go on each end. And I like using this glue. It gives you a little bit of wiggle room so you can really position your pieces nice and straight. And by not including a black border around these pieces, it's a little bit more forgiving. So we're going to add these all on the inside panel. So right here, I am working on the inside panel, and I'm adding my designer series papers, and they are so good. The possibilities for these cards are completely endless. I had a hard time picking which ones I was going to play with. So we've got these two pieces here, and then we're going to add, this is the sentiment piece, and that is framed in black. And I find that it just gives it that nice separation from all of the busy paper. So this is the inside. We're going to flip it over. We're going to work on the back side of the card. So again, here I'm adding the papers, and I just want to make sure that they're all going in the right direction. So there is a slight variation in colors here. There's the green at the bottom and the blue at the top. So that's all you have to remember at this part, is to make sure you're putting them all in the right orientation. And it's that easy. You just glue those pieces down. And I kind of like working on this particular card when it's flat. I will fold on the crease line in a moment, but I found that this one here is easy to put together when everything is nice and flat. Let's fold it to create that gatefold. Now this is the inside piece, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to fold on this line. And I know that it might be a little different to put your cut pieces first, but I wanted to try it just to see if it would be easier. Because I've given myself a small margin, I think that doing it when it's one big piece, it's just easier. I think it's easier. Whoops, this one. There we go. So this is our gatefold card. See all the colors? I really like the way that these little squares pop from the blue that I have inside. Now, if you want to save on paper and you don't want to put some on here, that is fine. But I just decided that it looked better when it was all completed. So let's take a look at our pinwheel. This looks pretty amazing. I want the red at the top, so I'm going to make sure to add my sentiment in the right orientation. And I'm going to add some glue right here on the back side. And it doesn't have a lot of area to grip onto, but it will. The other thing that I'm trying to be mindful of is to hide the little hole in the center. So I'm going to add this here. I am going to put something on it to let it dry. And then we're going to affix our belly band. Now this belly band here, don't put it on before it's all done. And when I say all done, all of your designer series papers are on your card base, because otherwise it is going to be too tight. Ask me how I know that. So you can score this, but I found that it's much easier just to wrap it around. And because we have little squares here, we know that we are nice and straight. So I'm just going to wrap this around the back. And I'm not doing it too tight, like I'm leaving some room. And you'll see right here that it's just going to join. Just going to add a little bit of glue right here at the base. And I've got a generous amount. Don't want it to ooze out. So again, I'm going to put a block on this to let it dry. And then we'll add our pinwheel. Okay, this should be nice and dry by now. And I can definitely pull this with no problem. So I'm going to pull that off. I'm going to set this to the side. I'm going to glue my pinwheel right here at the front so that the seam is hidden by the pinwheel and you have a nice continuous piece at the back. So we're going to add some right here. And I found that it was much easier to add the glue directly on this piece here. And I'm going to go right in the middle and I'm going to add my sentiment piece. Doesn't that look awesome? All right. So we have to make sure it's nice and straight. We're going to add our little block here. So we're going to let that dry for a moment. And we are going to add it to card number 1, and then we're going to move on to card number 2. For the finishing touches, and these are from my stash, these are black and white dots. I like how the black is picking up on the black of the sentiment, and then when you pull this off, you have a pretty neat birthday card. So here is card number 1, a nice close-up. Let's work on card number 2. Let's do card number 2. This is an accordion full card. Here's the base. Here are the cut pieces. I've gone ahead and I've assembled the little pinwheel because it's the same throughout. And these little pieces here all have a little black frame. And I love how the starburst, or the rainbow burst, I should say, kind of unfolds itself, and you'll see that when we do the accordion fold. So these are the center pieces. I'll go ahead and I'll adhere those, and then I'll fold on my lines. So these pieces here were all cut out of these dies. So this one here is 2 of those, and then this one here is actually this one, and I did this one for the little holes, and then I did a center. And I don't know if you can see here, but I did stamp this one in there, and it just gave it a little bit more detail. So if you like that, you can go ahead and do that. And then this cute little one here is this one here cut twice, and then you've got the little button right here. And I added some dimensionals. I've got my piece. I am going to fold that in half, just like so. And then this piece is going to line up right here. It's going to line up here, and it's going to line up at the top of the card. And this is when I realized that, oh, I really should have folded on the crease line before adding this centerpiece. So don't make that error. You really do need to accordion fold the base and then add this centerpiece. So I'm going to pull it off here, and we're going to fix our little issue and get back to the assembly. This piece goes here in the center, but don't do that before you fold it. I don't know what I was thinking. So we need to fold back, and we need to fold over, and we need to fold back, and we need to fold over. So this is our accordion fold. So now I can add my piece, and then we put this piece on because otherwise it's not going to work. So this goes right here. Okay, right. Now we have our card that is folding in the right way. We also have glue all over our panel. So this is our fold right here. I think that that looks really, really good. And we're gonna add our pinwheel here at the front. So we're gonna add some glue, just like that. I think I'm gonna add a dimensional for this one. I think that that's gonna be cute. So we're gonna add a dimensional right here. And we're gonna add this. Take a look at this card. Isn't that cool? I love the way that it works, but this here is a little bit kind of blank for me. So let's bring in some dies. So we've got this one here that we've been using. This one here, the Wanna Say. You've got these cute little images here. You have some stars and some cute little hearts. Now you will have leftover pieces when you cut this. We're gonna add these here on the base. So I'm just gonna grab my tweezers here and add just a tiny little bit of glue on the stars. Okay, so now when you close this, right, see how it really does finish the card? So this is from this die set right here, just to say. One here and one here and one down here. So this is card number 2, right? So I'm gonna, so definitely this one here. I would recommend folding it before putting this piece on, but isn't this fun? I love the way that this turned out. So let's work on card number 3. Let's assemble card number 3. This one here is a double step card, very, very easy. And we are just gonna fold back on the large piece here, and then we're gonna fold up and we're gonna fold down. So this one here, I am gonna fold. I've learned from card number 2. So this is how this card looks when it is folded. We're gonna add our piece right here. Right, and then we're gonna fold this up and we're gonna add this piece. And then this piece is the sentiment piece, so we're gonna add this to the back. I do like to put these pieces because I find that it gives stability to the card. So we're gonna add this piece here, right here on the back side. So you can write your sentiment back here. And now do you see how it stands nice and tall? This is how it looks from the side, but it stands really nice and firmly. This has been drying here. So this one here, to make sure that it fits inside an A2 card, I'm going to bring it here and I'm going to go at the 5.5, and I'm going to add my pinwheel, and I want to make sure, so I'm going to just bring back my T-ruler here, and I'm going to make sure that I don't go beyond. So basically I'm going to line it up and attach it here. I don't want it to go beyond that. So this, we have our words. I'm going to glue this back piece right here. So I'm going to make sure that I'm at the bottom, make sure this is at 5.5, and I am going to drop this right in the center of my card. I'm going to add my block just to let it dry for a moment, and then we'll add a few of the black gems and we'll move to card number 4. While this one is drying, I just thought I'd show you an alternate way to do your pinwheel. So you can go ahead and you could adhere this piece down. It's, again, easier when it's flat. So you can see here, this one here doesn't matter so much that the colors don't match, and you'll see why because of all of the circles. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to fold back and front on this piece. So as you are putting these cards together, there's definitely some drying time so you can move on to the next card. I'm not sure how you create cards when you do a set like this, if you do all of the pinwheels first and then you go to the next one. I know that I cut all of my pieces. I make sure that I label them and then I put them in a little pile. I try not to lose them. And then I assemble one card at a time. Now, probably my workflow is a bit different than yours because I do process videos. So you can see here that when you glue both of them together, when you get to the end, it's longer, so it can kind of be a little bit harder. You choose the way that works for you, but this is definitely a different way to put it together. I think I prefer the other way. I think I prefer to accordion fold the two pieces separate, and then I can glue them together. But this works too, and I thought I'd share it with you. I'm going to add a little bit of glue on the tab, and the tab goes underneath. So we're going to sneak that underneath. And I'm going to make sure that I'm nice and straight. I'm going to push that in, make sure that it's nice and tight. And then we're going to push that down. Oh, I think this one's dry. Let's put this one up here. We have our large piece here, and I just found that a larger piece worked better. Okay, so now that we have our little accordion fold, we're going to push that in. And sometimes they don't cooperate, like they lose their little shape, so you just push them back into shape and see how it doesn't really matter that the dots are all different. So let's push that back into shape, and it will resist a little bit. I'm going to add a generous amount of glue on my dot, and I'm going to put that right in the center. Now you can give it a nice little push with your hand. You're not going to squish it, and then just add something on it and let it dry. So let's get back to this one. Okay, now that this is nice and dry, I think I'm going to add just a couple of dots on this one. I'm going to add some here on this side, like so, and then I'll add a big one up here, and maybe a little one for good measure. This one here is a little bit more simple. You could add more if you want, but I'm just going to let the paper do the talking, and the fact that it can stand on its own, I think that that's a pretty neat card. All right, so this is drying. Let's finish card number 4. We are adhering card number 4, and I've done a few pieces already. So this is the base of the card, and right now I'm going to adhere the top piece, which is going to go right in the center. But before I do that, I want to add my black piece here. And this was done with that dotted circle embossing folder, and I think it just gives it a really cool look. So we're going to add this like so to the front, and I'm going to add this right to my card, and I'm going to add some glue right on this flap. So I'm going to add this right here. I'm going to burnish this piece just to make sure it sticks down. So this is the card front. And then we are going to add this piece on top, and then this is going to go over. So we're going to cover this little flap that we have We're going to put that right like so. So this is where you can write your sentiment. You can write more here if you want. So we're going to close that off, and we're going to add our Feel Better Soon right here in the center. I'm going to add a generous amount of glue. We're going to add our pinwheel. I know we're hiding a lot of this pattern, but you can still see it, and I think it looks really good. Now, I didn't like the fact that this was popping open like this. Went ahead and I cut this tiny little piece here, and at the back you have some black cardstock and the pattern paper. So what I'm going to do is I am going to adhere my little hearts down. So I'm going to glue down these two hearts. We're going to add glue here, and I am going to push this down, and I'm going to put it on a bit of an angle. So I'm going to hold this in place. So I've got glue just on the back side. I'm not going to touch it right away. I'm going to add a few more of these little gems. I think I'm just going to add a few here. So I'm going to add 1 and 2 and 3. I think that looks good, and you can tell that that little heart is really doing its job. Acts as a little stopper, and it keeps this card shut. Hopefully you've enjoyed these cards. They were a lot of fun to make. So this is card number 4. We're going to bring back card number 3, card number 2. This one here is a little chunky, but I did kind of make sure that this fits inside an A2 envelope, so I did have to shrink this down. They all fit. And then our last one, and it's probably my favorite one, is this one here. I love the flanking with these, and then when you open it up. Well, that's it for me today. I hope you've enjoyed this assembly video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Thank you for sharing some of your time with me today. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.